Alright folks, welcome back to Good Enough Customs. So last week we left off with stripping this truck down. And in case you don't know, this is Kruck's 2010 GMC 2500. So we stripped this guy down. We got everything prepped and ready according to the directions for the Rough Country 6-inch kit. And this week we are putting it all back together. So first things first, we got to clean all this aluminum shavings up. So I got to go get my vacuum out. We've got to get this bracket is our bracket that goes on here that gives us a new mount, since we cut the old mount off here and then we shaved a bunch of stuff down right there. And then Kruck beat me out here this morning, since it's been just hotter than blue blazes. Got out here to the shop and he got started on the front end. Let's see if I can't get down here. I'll show what's going on. Let's see, we've got, so he's got this rear cross member mounted in, and this also has our bump stop brackets on it. So we got all this stuff hooked in. It's just kind of loosely set in there because that's what the directions say. Basically, they want you to get stuff loosely set till you get everything in there, and then you can start tightening up the cross members and stuff. And then there's some parts I want you to wait till it gets on the ground and has weight on it before you start cranking it down. And I believe that was the upper and lower control arms. So that's where we're at. And yeah, I guess let's get this party started. All right, now we got this clean-ish. We got to get this bracket mounted on here. And this bracket is going to mount right in this section. So we've got to pull out these bolts. So there's 5 of them that we got to pull. These guys are 15 mil. And then it actually says to replace them with supply bolts, which are 17 mil, but they're a little bit longer to make up for the thickness of the bracket. So yep, let's do that. Woo! What? Well, I went to push down and the whole thing rolled, and I just in my head saw it just dumping right over into my freaking lap. Slightly terrifying. They don't give us any torque specs on this, so we're just going with like 3 to 4 fat mountain bounces. All right, so now we got that squared up. We can take and slide this big hunk of metal back up underneath the truck and start lifting it to get it back to its new home. So we'll join up back under the truck. All right, folks, so here we are. We've got good old front differential slid back underneath here, all trimmed and cleaned up and ready to go. So now's the fun part. We've got to get this guy up on the jack and then jacked it up and put it way up here. Hang on, let me adjust this because y'all can't see where I'm pointing at. So we got to get the transfer or the differential up here, and get the yoke pushed through here, set it down. So where we were trimming way down here, that is so we can clear this piece, which will be part of the original pocket for the lower control arm. That's why we had to clear so much of this off on the side. It didn't make sense over on the bench until I got over here and set it down. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense now. So we got to get this guy up on the jack it up, set it in here. So let the test fit commence.
Set.
Okay, we need to like slide the whole thing back a little bit.
Well, we're screwed either way.
Yeah.
Because now the new lower bracket is lower and we're close to that.
Yeah, I know. We got no good.
And the jack is shit. Come on up. Slide it in. Come on. Oh, it will not fit.
Nope. Okay. Ha!
How's your hand? That felt good.
Ah, f***ing hell. Ah. I did not have my hand tightened up, anticipating that much weight. I really felt that in the meaty bits.
I bet. It looked like pain.
Okay, so.
Strategy change.
Strategy time. We're going to slide it back, tilt it up. And I say that like it's easy.
Tilt it way up. Kind of rest it over there.
Let me get my hand out. Alright, I guess this will do it as far as I can tell. You ready?
Yep. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It's got to go forward.
What are we hitting?
The frame back here, but you got to get it up and over in the front. I got to swing it there. There we go. Getting warmer. We got a hold spot. I can hold it.
You got it?
Jack would probably not have worked.
Nope, Jack definitely would not have worked. All right, let me get a wiggle. Maybe.
Actually, if you just hold this for a second,
Yeah.
I can get a bolt of this.
Okay.
Which is what it suggests to do, but I got to come back. It does not want to. It's got to go your way.
I mean, it's got to go my way.
It's got to go.
Like the whole thing's got to go this way?
Yeah, because I'm hitting my bracket on the outside over here.
Well, there's not much way that I can go this way.
Hang on, I can get one. That's why they want it loose.
Yeah.
Come on, boo-boo. All I want is this one. 1 thread, 2 thread, 3 thread. All right, we're held back here.
Okay.
Are you in between right now?
Yeah. I just got to go up.
Up, or just
Yeah, this whole thing has to go
no?
up.
I
Well, yeah.
mean, I could get the jack under here now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's get the jack on here. Instead of strong arming this thing. Nope. My hand. Okay.
All right, wiggle it where you need to, because we got slack.
Come on up. Okay, stop right there. Oh wait, I got it. Yay! We did a thing. So while he's trying to get this other nut and bolt on, or nut on this other bolt,
I got it.
in the directions, this stuff's all supposed to be loose, just, you know, finger tight, so that way this stuff can shift and move around. And we just learned exactly why, because trying to get this guy lined up and set in place is an absolute nightmare. So if this was all bolted in nice and rigid, that probably would not have worked out very well. But since she's floating around a little bit, was able to move and do and get everything lined up to get at least this bolt in here, and then he's got the 2 bolts over there to hold that side of the front axle up. So now we're going to move to I guess the front cross member and get the front mount bolted up and all that good stuff. So we'll be right back. So front cross member. I don't think we need this guy in here anymore.
Yes, you do.
Okay, well, let's lower it down a little bit.
No, lowering it was bad.
Well, my thought is if we lower it, it should drop like this, if you can see my hand.
So
the,
I mean,
the front
right now, if it's high enough, can we not drop both these bolts in and then lower the tranny into place?
Well, I'm just thinking it might be easier.
Or I can go up more and get this bracket mounted.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we can do that, I suppose.
Because that shit's heavier than hell. And you got a shove her in.
Yeah, I'm hitting the bushing. There we go. I think. Where am I at here?
You're probably a little high.
Ow.
Are you a little high?
Nope.
I think you're a little high.
Can you go up a little more? I'm not high.
I'm bottomed out.
I got one side in. Yeah, if you can rattle and push, I'll grab this. There we go. Jack it back up a little bit. Good. All right, now let her back down. There we go. She's in there. All right, so you can see how tight that is right on there. I've got right in that area down just past the tip of my screwdriver. It is literally just big enough to get the screwdriver in. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm glad we ain't got to pull that back out. So yeah, lots of trimming on that. Didn't quite understand it at the time, but it makes sense now. All right, so now that that's done, thank God, now it's just snugging down the differential, and then I guess we'll get started on getting the rest of the suspension put back together. So we'll catch back up with you here in just a minute. All right, back up here in the front of the truck. Now it's time to start torquing some stuff down. So we got to go through here and torque down the mount for the differential on the front and the rear back over there. This is also the time where we can torque down these guys that are attached to this drop down bracket from the frame. So we got to get that all torqued in. We can go ahead and reconnect the electric motor for the four-wheel drive activation, and then come over here and hook up right to that little yellow little nipple sticking out to the vent tube for the differential. So I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff all torqued down. I can't remember the numbers. I've got the instructions close by. All right, so that little drop down bracket right there, that guy gets torqued to 90 foot-pounds, and then it looks like the mountain bolts here for the differential, those go to 130 foot-pounds. That's going to be fun. So we got those guys to do. Kruck is currently dropping the lower control arms on, getting those guys ready to go, and then yeah, lots of good stuff. So well, I guess we'll be back in just a few. For the vent line, the instructions say you may have to take some slack off of the metal tube that it connects to. This one doesn't connect to a metal tube. Giving her a tug, it comes up. It's actually looped in with this wiring harness that goes up to this little one-way valve up here. So I just disconnected it from the bundle it was in and tried pulling it back. There's plenty of slack on this wiring harness. So gave her just a little tug, and we can sit there and watch it kind of pull that wiring harness down, give us a little bit extra slack. So now we got plenty of slack, and then I'll just find a spot to get up here and, you know, reconnect this up here somewhere. So little differences, but same principle. So a little extra room on that vent, and we're good to go on the differential. It's all hooked in. Like I said, Kruck got lower control arm in on both sides. He's working on the upper for the driver's side, or the passenger side. So whew, and it's hot. It's stanky hot. So anyways, we'll get moving on, and I'll catch back up here in just a couple minutes. All right, now we got all that stuff bolted up for the differential. Now it's time to get these bolts for the cross member mounts, you know, cranked down and tightened up, and, you know, doing the thing. So I don't think it had a torque spec on these, but we're just gonna basically give them the old give them hell, couple fat guy tugs and see what it does. So all right, I'm gonna get that done and then we'll move on. So one thing that we didn't cover is whenever you're putting these brackets on that drop down the transfer case and lower the lower control arm position, you bolt these back into the factory lower control arm position. But don't forget, and it's a key point, is in between this, you know, the sides here where it bolts in, there's actually a sleeve that goes in there to keep it from actually crushing in. So it just keeps in and holds it, you know, reinforces it so it doesn't crush in. So yeah, don't forget that sleeve. That's kind of a vital thing, because if you don't put the sleeve in there, you're just going to mash this thing in and mash it in and mash it in, and then you've ruined, you know, part of your truck. So so yeah, so there's that, and yeah, now we're going to crank her down. I believe the setting is actually 129 foot-pounds for this, so that's what we're going to go to. Don't know if it's exactly right or not. We're not 100% sure, but that's what we're going to do, is 129 foot-pounds. That's the factory torque spec for the lower control arm, so we're just going to go with that for that spot. So all right, here we go. All right, so lower control arm's on, all the cross members are bolted in. Kruck's got passenger side upper control arm on. I'm fixing to drop the driver's side upper control arm on, and we are chooching through this thing pretty quick. Now it's time for the knuckle. Holy hell, it's heavy. All right, so we got our knuckle assembly on here. Only thing left to do now that we've got this all as one piece, now we can go in and we can torque the lower control arm bolts, get those torqued down. Uppers torqued to 140, the lowers torqued to 129. And so 129 on the lowers, we'll get those torqued down here in just a minute on both sides, and that'll have the majority of our stuff ready to go. Then it's just, you know, getting our castle nuts on there, getting our cotter pins in. We got to put our axles in with their spacer, and then bolting the hub and the brakes and everything back on over here. So also tie rod end. So we got to get the tie rod end on with that big beefy bastard of a unit that we got sitting back there. So all right, I guess we're going to torque on these lower control arm mounts, get those done. Not going to film it, it's kind of boring. So yeah, we're going to do that, and we'll be back in just a minute. Already came in here and tightened up this tie rod end. I got him all snugged up back in here, so he is good to go there, which means we can move on to getting the axle shafts back in with the supplied spacer. They have a little it's like a plastic fiber type spacer that goes in between the axle and the differential. So I've got that guy. We can drop that in and get that in here. But I mean, look at this thing. It's just beefy as hell with the Kryptonite uppers. You know, we've now got greasable control arm bushings. We got a serviceable ball joint here on the top and greasable. You know, we got this just monster rough country knuckle, brand new lower, you know, just beefy as hell. It's some really good stuff, and I enjoy seeing brand new parts on this. It's very nice. So so we're gonna go ahead and get I guess go ahead and get the axles put on. I think Kruck's gonna finish buttoning up the other side. We'll get the axles put on and probably go ahead and get the shocks put on, and then from there I guess we'll move to doing the hub and the brakes, and that'll be about it for the front. Well, we still got torsion bars and all that crap to still deal with, so there's a bunch still to go there. But yeah, for now, let's get back to this front end. All right, so we've got these are our little spacers for the half shafts, or the the front axle shafts. So these guys are indexed. If you notice, we've got a raised side on this edge. It's got a little flange, and then we've got a recessed flange area here that matches up to the differential where the axle actually mounts up to, and then the axle actually has a flange that sits inside here. So make sure you get those oriented right, or you may not get them centered up, and you'll probably have a bad time. We'll come back and torque these guys down. They torque down to 58 foot-pounds, if I remember correctly, on the flange side. So we'll come back and torque those guys down. I got one done, but it's fighting me every single step of the way. So that part's done, and I guess now I'm going to drop the shock on. So be right back. Whew. All right, well, mostly put together now. Can't hardly get it in one frame. So we got the shocks in, we got the tie rod cranked down on the steering. Got the knuckle, everything's loosely bolted, nothing's extremely tight yet except for that tie rod. I got, like I said, just got the shock put in, still got to tighten that down, but we figure we'll do that once we get a load on it, so that way it'll seat and do what it wants to do there. Our bump stop's in. You reuse the factory bump stop on this guy. There is another bump stop that goes in underneath the upper control arm right in here, but again, we'll have to do that after we get some weight on the truck, on the suspension to push it up, and then we can put that bump stop in. And then all that's really left here is really the hub and the brake assembly and the sway bar end links. We got to get that all figured out too. So moving right along, but that's going to do enough for us for today. We've got one of our buddies has got a deal going on that we're going to, and Kruck's got to go home and get cleaned up. I got to go inside and get cleaned up, and we're going to go do this thing. So if anything fun and exciting happens there, I'll be sure and film it, but should be pretty boring. So anyways, I guess we'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler. They're saying it's only supposed to be in the low to mid 80s tomorrow, as opposed to hundreds. So yeah, so I guess we'll see y'all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. Well, good morning, folks. It is Sunday morning. So yesterday we cut loose about 3 o'clock. Just God almighty, it was super hot and just so unbearably just humid that we just like, oh my, we can't keep going. This is ridiculous. We were both literally fixing to drown in sweat. Plus we had our buddy Michael and his wife Stephanie. They are having a baby, so they had a gender reveal party yesterday. So funny story. I don't get it. I don't understand gender reveal parties. Just tell me. I don't, whatever. So I hadn't planned on going. I was like, I've got other stuff I can do, So I'll find out on Facebook, whatever. So Michael calls me, kind of, you could tell there was a little panic in his voice. I don't remember what day it was. It was earlier this week. And he's like, hey, are you coming Saturday to the thing? And I'm like, what thing? Because I'd already forgot about it. And he's like, the gender reveal. I was just like, yeah, no. So he was just like, oh man, he goes, I need you to bring Steve. Like everybody's truck is broken. I was like, what do you mean everybody's truck is broken? I was like, what happened to yours? He's got the little 81 short bed stepside truck, and he's doing an LS swap in it. And it's currently at the tuners, and they're running in all sorts of wiring issues. So so he's like, they're telling me it ain't gonna be ready till next week. He's like, I'd planned on doing it with my truck. And he's like, but it ain't gonna be here. This truck's broke down. This truck won't turn the tires. This one won't do this. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I guess I can do that. He goes, I'll give you some brisket. And I was just like, all right, yeah, sure. So I went to the gender reveal party. And, well, you can see what they're having. So congratulations, Michael and Stephanie, on your bouncing baby boy that will be here. I don't know when the due date is. I know it's, you know, a little further out. But congratulations. Just so you know, having a boy is wonderful and exciting. And not really ever dull. They keep you busy. They keep you real busy. It smooths out a lot, though, once they get into their teenage years. It's not so bad. But when they're young, whoo, boy, it keep you busy. So, anyways, back to the actual work. So, here we are on the driver's side, almost done. You know, we covered all this stuff yesterday. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and really just try to hammer down and go ahead and get the hub on and the brake parts and get all that stuff done. Most of the components are already on here. They're already done. They're already ready to go. So all we really got left to do is, like I said, the hub and the brakes. So I'm going to get started on this and try to get this banged out real quick. Then I'm going to move to the passenger side, get it knocked out real fast, and then we can move on to getting the torsion bars back in place and get those ready to go. So, all right, let's get started. All right, so we've got the new hub. I got the dust shield. So I got the dust shield cleaned up and re-shot. Nothing super fancy, just a little bit of paint on it. Doesn't totally matter, mainly because it's, you know, hidden. So now to get this stuff in here and seated. Easier said than done. Alright, so she's on there now. We gotta look up what our torque setting is for the hub, and as soon as we find that out, we'll get these guys torqued down and be just about ready to go. Still got to put the spindle nut on. Alright, so it's 133 foot-pounds for these hub bolts. So I'm gonna hand crank them till they're pretty tight, and then we'll finish them up with the torque wrench. New rotor's installed. Put a couple lug nuts on it just to keep it nice and flush. So we're gonna put it in the caliper bracket. This is pretty simple little deal. Unfortunately, I did not paint these, so they still kind of look like garbage, but that's okay. They'll be hidden behind the wheel. All right, says 80 foot-pounds for these guys. Getting the pads on was a little bit of a struggle. This back one was fighting me. I had to get the camera out of the way so I could actually get it on there. So now the pads are on. I guess it's time to drop the caliper. All right, folks, so yeah, just shut the camera off and just got to it. Basically, it was just putting brakes together. Y'all seen that. I've done that plenty of times on here. They're all pretty close to being the same thing. So yeah, we got everything put together. So this is the passenger side. It is pretty well done. We still got a few things left to torque. I got to torque the axle nut. That guy has not been torqued down yet. He's just kind of snug. Let's see, we're going to get a little weight on it before we get the upper shock mount bolted all the way down. But yeah, it all lays out pretty good. The one thing that the instructions don't cover a lot of is proper brake line, and the ABS line doesn't really lay all that stuff out for the best way to route and set this up. It has a couple things in there, but it's not really good at explaining it. So it took took a little bit of figuring to get this done, and Kruck worked on this pretty hard getting all this set up. So we got the brake line with enough little slack right in here, which is fine. This part really doesn't move because it's attached to the knuckle. So pretty much what you're looking at is from here to here. This stuff doesn't really move. It's all associated with the knuckle, so it's only going to go where the knuckle goes, be it up or down or left or right. The part where you need to worry about slack is right here, coming off the hard line to the soft line, and where it goes with the upper control arm. So right now you'll notice it looks pretty tight, but it's still got some decent wiggle to it. It could probably stand a little bit more wiggle, but this is fine. Right now the suspension's drooped, so this is as maxed down as it's going to go. Once it's actually got, you know, get the wheels on it, get the weight of the truck on it, this all kind of comes up a little bit, which then relaxes that brake line a little bit more. So unless he's planning on hitting some pretty sweet jumps, I think we'll be okay on that brake line. So the line for the ABS, you know, a little tone ring that's associated with the hub. This guy routes up here with this existing brake line mount. And then we route it up and over. Now, from the factory side, it went up here and then all the way back up here behind the shock mount is where this part used to be. So Kruck moved that down over here and rerouted it to here, so that way there's all sorts of slack here. And again, plenty of slack, you know, fully drooped, and we got plenty of slack here. So it's all starting to come together pretty well. Front's pretty well done. We've just got a couple things left to bolt or torque down, and we'll be good to go on the front. So Kruck is working on greasing and doing the brake line and the ABS line on the driver's side right now. So while he's doing that, I'm going to slide up underneath here. And yeah, there's a torsion bar. There's a torsion bar right there. So I'm gonna work on getting these guys back in, and then I've got to mount some brackets to lower the torsion bar mounting cross member. Yeah. So we got to lower that guy down because you want your torsion bars to be parallel to the ground. So got to get that done, which I do believe requires some drilling. So we'll be doing a little drilling in the frame and, you know, having a good time with it. So I'll see y'all under there. All right, back on the ground, getting ready to do the torsion bar drop bracket, or brackets. So we just got to locate where our factory torsion bar went, which is right there, which means that this one is, you know, right around this area. So we know we're in about the same spot. Here's the rivets that hold that piece on, and the new piece that lowers everything is this guy, and he's really nice because you just set it over the factory rivets and you drill 4 holes, one there, one over here, right there, and then you got 2 up underneath here that you got to drill in. So I'm gonna get those marked and drilled, and then we can get the bracket reinstalled and reinstall the torsion bar. So I'll be right back. Got her all bolted up, got the holes drilled, and the ones up here, got them all bolted down, cranked down as tight as I can get them. I don't believe it had any specific torque specs on this. No, it doesn't give any specific torque specs. So cranked them down until I couldn't, you know, until I basically squeezed the fart out. So those are in there good and tight. Now I just got to go to the other side, do the same thing. I'm not gonna worry about filming that because it's the exact same thing as this. Only bad thing about doing this is, especially using like a step bit, is these guys, they throw out freaking shavings like you wouldn't believe, and they're a little warm. So definitely wear a glove and some safety glasses, because it kicks them out all over the place. So I've also got to sweep up and clean up all this metal bits because they're all on my shirt now, all over my back. Feels wonderful. But I'm gonna get to the other side, get that side done, and then we'll carry on. All right, under the truck, and getting ready to do the cross member for the torsion bars. And we've got our lower brackets put in with our bushings. I went ahead and greased them. We've got a sleeve in there. You know, we got the bolt, I got the holes drilled, got the bolt cinched down. I got the other side done. We're ready to go. So the key to this is we got to take the torsion bar, which is this fella here and this fella here, and go ahead and push them through to the front. You can kind of see the hex hole up there somewhere, right around in there. Go ahead and get them pushed in through that, so that way they're already kind of there. And then we put them in the mount, which is this guy. We go ahead and feed them through the holes here, and then we can actually get the mount up and bolt it in. So yeah, this ought to be fun. Yay. Here we go. Bars are in. They're it's a little difficult to do from way back here, but we've got so much crap and there's metal shavings everywhere. I don't feel like sliding around all over creation under here, so I decided to struggle with putting them in from way back here. So they're in there temporarily, like. So now we can get the cross member put in and get these guys starting to get set up. So our torsion bar cross member is mounted, it's in. I got to crank the bolts down. The torsion bars are in with the keys. You can tell there's no preload on them because, you know, it's just flopping around. And same over here. So what we got to do next is, like I said, I got to crank these down on the new lower mounts. Once those guys are torqued down, then I can take my, you know, this tool here, the torsion bar C-clamp tool thing, and we can go ahead and push these guys up, get this part up here out of the way, and then we can put our retainer bolts in. And once we get the retainer bolts in, then we can set our, you know, preload pretty much. So I'm gonna get started on cranking these guys down, so that way this mount is in, we ain't got to worry about it no more. So I'll get started on that here in just a second. As soon as I get done with that, I'll turn the camera back on. We'll get our keys turned up, get some preload on the front end, and we'll get the keys up and get the retainers in and get them kind of, you know, get us a preload set. So, all right, back at it here in a second. Now time to get a little preload set on the old torsion bar. So, got to get this fella. That's just not a lot of fun. Let's get this ran down. I guess I could have done that before I turned the camera on, but you know, whatever. I do remember when we were taking this guy down that the retainer sits right here, which then there's a notch on the bottom of the torsion bar key. There's also a notch here, which would work out perfect for this little divot on the tool to sit in. But where this guy sits and where this bolt sticks out ends up being about right in here because it comes in at an angle. So I can't put this guy in there, which does pose a little bit of a safety issue because there's nothing, you know, trapping this. It could slide forward or backward, either way, and, you know, pop off and smack me in the face and, you know, all the fun stuff. But whenever we did take it down, I did put it in between these teeth, and it held just fine. So we're going to go with that and add a little preload to this thing. All right, I guess I'm to a point where I need a socket, a ratchet, or something. Hang on, let's see what we got. Fine, sir. All right. Remember seeing that Winter Soldier movie?
Yeah.
Where Captain America is trying to hold the damn helicopter onto the landing pad?
Yeah.
That's about what I feel like right now. Except I definitely do not have the same arms that Chris Evans has.
Hercules, Hercules.
It's right there. Oh, thank Christ. As you can see, it's super easy and not difficult at all. Although my hands are throbbing and definitely bruised. All right, so whenever we was taking this apart, I measured this side at 1 3/4 to the end of the bolt head, and right now we are at 2 inches. So that is a 1/4 inch less turns than what it had before. So we know that the torsion bars are cranked up before we did the lift kit, so this is going to lower that by a 1/4 inch worth of tension. That doesn't mean a 1/4 inch worth of, you know, raising and lowering the front end. So this ought to make the front a little bit more supple and not ride quite as harsh. So we're going to put that as our starting point. So 2 inches to the top of the bolt head from the mounting surface of the torsion bar keeper here, or the key stop thing. But so we're going to do that as our number, 2 inches of length there, and then that way once we get it on the ground, if we need to crank on this to level the front end out side to side, we can do that. If we're not happy with where the front end's exactly sitting and the ride's really soft, we can crank this up a little bit more, and that'll firm the ride up a little bit more and also raise it just a little bit. So all right, so now I'm going to loosen this up, which definitely should not be as difficult as it was raising this thing. That thing was about to kill me. But so I'm going to loosen this guy up, and then I'm going to do the other side, and we'll catch up here in just a bit. Whew! All right, folks. Hot, sweaty, really tired. My shoulders are on fire. Doing the torsion bars up underneath this thing is a nightmare, but we got it done. So yeah, everything is done. Kruck has gone through, verified everything is torqued, got all of our cotter keys in. He's got our shock that we needed, the top bolt, got that guy finished out. Torsion bar is in, it's literally right here above the light. So we got the preload set on that. Everything's torqued, everything's good. So yeah, yay. Only thing left to do now is the rear, which is literally just blocks and U-bolts. I'm probably not going to film that one just because it's blocks and U-bolts. You unbolt the U-bolts, you lift up the body off the axle, slide blocks in, put new U-bolts on. I think I actually covered it on the Blazer when I did the lift kit on that. So I'll throw a link up here if I can remember to put it in here, but I'll throw a link up here to that video. So yeah, lift blocks, they're all the same pretty much everywhere. So all right, I guess we're gonna get to that, and then next time I talk to you guys, we'll be rolling this big honking thing out the garage. So see you then. All right, so we are in the cleanup process now, going through getting all the tools picked up and getting everything kind of, you know, moved out of the way so we can get the truck actually out of the shop. But just a quick rundown on the tools we used. There's a few here. And there's a couple that have already been put up, like in his truck, that were his tools that he bought. So lots of tools. But to be fair, a lot of these are doubles because he was doing stuff on that side while I was doing stuff on this side, and all that. So there are some doubles in here. But yeah, fair amount of tools to do all this stuff with. So, but it's all basic hand tools. So I mean, you can really do this with just hand tools and a couple floor jacks, or one floor jack like we did, which made things a little bit interesting at times, but it was still doable. So anyways, we're gonna finish putting her back together, and we'll get it pulled out of the shop, do a little walk around, and take it for a ride. So we'll see you here in just a minute. Mechanical difficulties. I guess we killed the battery, so taking a little bit longer to get the truck started back up. So I figure I haven't shown on camera how much lift we actually got out of this thing. So if we remember back, we got passenger side front 42¼ inch was the previous measurement, and we are currently at 47. I can't quite tell. It was like 47¼ so that's right at 5 inches of lift. Tire's a little low too, so we might, you know, that might be a little bit of lift there. But yeah, so I know when we measured this last night it was a little bit better, but I could have been parallaxed. So let's do this one more time. Yeah, we look to be about 47¼ driver's front was 41¾ we can go look at that one really fast. That was 41¾ so we'll come over here, change hands. We are at 46⅛, I think. So what is that, 5 and I can't do fractions that fast. So so yeah, we're close to 6 inches. What's my rears? 40½-ish. 40½, driver's side. The driver's side a little bit lower than the passenger side. So and we think that's because he's got a diesel tank in the back of the truck that weighs about 400 pounds. So this side is at 45½. So what I say, it was 40½. So right at yeah, so right at 5 inches in the back. Now granted, nothing's been cycled and settled in, so we still got, you know, once it drives a little bit and settles in and everything kind of works its way where it needs to live, those numbers will probably change a little bit. But yeah, she's tall. The hood's almost chin level with me, so it's up there. But all right, I guess we're gonna get back to trying to figure out why this thing ain't starting. We went and grabbed some dinner while we left this thing on the charger, so maybe she'll fire off, maybe not. If it doesn't, we've got a new battery to slap in it if need be. So all right, be right back. Okay, I'm gonna pick him over to start. Gives that big bump. All right then. So I know the lighting kind of sucks because, you know, it's dark. But truck's finally outside where I can actually walk around it a little bit. So I'm gonna hold the camera about eye level with where I am. Let's see, that's eye level. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, heck of a lot taller. I really wanted to do this during the daytime, but issues arose. We couldn't quite get it done. So anyhow, I think we're gonna go take it out for a little test trip. Just make sure everything is riding okay and seems to be in good enough shape. And then I think he's gonna take it on home and I can get the shop cleaned up and get Steve pulled back in here for his comfy spot. So anyways, just if you got any questions about anything, put a question down there below. I read through them all. I'll put links to what I can down below. If I'll try and remember everything. Put some links down below. If you like the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button too, might as well. So I do appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so very much. And I guess just remember, folks, it ain't gotta be perfect. Just good enough. And we'll see y'all next time.